What do you think of this? We are revisiting the best things from our past to let you know whether they're the best things for your future. I'm Jeff Abyad, and with me is Josue Escobar.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, Josue. I'm rubbing my hands together. It's not just because we have a video camera set up so we can maybe do some clips.
Yeah.
Because I'm so excited about this topic today.
Yeah. This was a unique one.
So we're going to get into it. I don't know if anybody knows this as well as I sort of know this.
I don't think anybody knows this.
So we're going to jump into that.
This was lost in the annals of time.
and then we figured out some soundboard trickery. So we've got an enhancement to our Closing the Loop segment, which is good because I have some updates.
Nice.
Okay, but first, just to lead into this topic, I did have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
One, did you have any irrational fears as a kid? And this came up because I know we were kind of talking about this a little bit recently or whatever with Peter and the Wolf and stuff. And I had this conversation with my kids and we were talking about, just things that they were scared of. And I do remember as a kid being really afraid in road trips, if it was dark at night, looking out the window because I thought, I don't know. I just had this, again, irrational fear that there was going to be it was always a wolf in my mind or something that was just going to appear, which I'm sure was sewed into. And this is why I think it kind of is going to lead into our topic. But
dude, this unlocked I guess, a suppressed memory of mine, I think. Just reminded me. I used to, in road trips or in the car, I would always have a toy in my hand or something when I was a kid. And I kept imagining what it would be like if I just stuck my hand out the window with my toy and just let it go.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had that psychotic thought of just drop my toy out the window in a moving vehicle, going 50 miles per hour. I'll never see this thing again. They're not going to stop to turn around to go get it. Should I do it? Should I not do it?
This is really setting a tone for this episode, but that reminded me, and I think there's a term for this, and I can't remember what it's called, and I think everybody does this, will just imagine the worst possible scenario at a time, it just comes into your head.
Yeah.
Because I can remember going on these road trips, we'd be in Arizona on these long roads between Tucson and Phoenix or something, and just having this thought of what if I just
I've had that too. I'd just kill everybody in the car.
Yeah.
That's so messed up.
It's not that and you don't even talk about it because it's not I would obviously never do that.
Exactly.
But you have this thought, what if this happened?
Yeah. Is that the beginning of mental illness?
I hope not.
Oh my God.
Because this is out on the internet now. People are these guys are crazy.
I think everybody's had thoughts like that. I mean, especially when you're driving a car, you have so much power. You could wreak havoc if you wanted to. You're like a 3,000 pound, 4,000 pound vehicle machine that you can guide anywhere you want.
Right. And you're experimenting with your own life also. I am frail. I am a fragile human being.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if watching stuff we're going to talk about, sowed some of those seeds too. It probably did, but our minds are crazy.
Oh, yeah, they
I
are.
think probably every kid.
If this video that we watched is any testament to how crazy the mind can be, yeah.
It is. As a kid, I was afraid of putting my feet over the edge of my bed.
Because there's
dark.
A monster underneath.
And I don't ever remember thinking monster. But, if you rationally are oh yeah, there's nothing living under my bed. Yeah. But still, I'd rather not stick my legs down there.
It's like Calvin and Hobbes. Something under their bed is drooling. There's the comics?
I know barely. Yeah.
There was a book called Something Under the Bed is Drooling. It's a picture of him standing on his bed, looking down and seeing there's eyes under the bed. And it's imagination. That's it. That's entirely what it is.
I remember having a poster in my room as a kid, and I think I got it from myself at the Christian bookstore, which was a scripture verse, and it was God's hand writing it with a quill pen in gold writing or something. I don't remember it very well. And it was who knows? But I remember as a kid at nighttime being afraid of it, and I would take it off the wall and turn it around. I don't know why. When you look at it now, I'm that makes no sense. Why is that? I don't know. I'm sure there's some deep
I had a crazy fear of like this My Buddy doll that we had.
Well, that's not too crazy because of the Chucky movies,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Had you seen?
I loved this doll during the day. Played with him all the time.
Yep.
And then at night, I would put him in a closet or leave him out in the living room. Something like he couldn't be around me because he was too creepy at night. And I remember my brothers throwing him at me in the middle of the night in my bunk bed, and he's screaming bloody murder because he just out of nowhere got launched into my bed, and my dad comes in with it and he's like, "What's going on in here? Stop it! Go to sleep."
Yeah, I think still like as an adult, sometimes if I'm in the house by myself and it's dark, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm fine, but every once in a while, I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah. You have to just reassure yourself. Yeah.
Why is that? Why are we like that?
I don't know. It's just human nature.
Human nature, the mind. We do weird things.
Something's written in us to not like the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get into the darkness today.
Oh gosh.
Anything else going on in your life lately?
No, we just at church we just finished our night of worship.
Yep.
We recorded 2 songs, original songs that the team wrote. It was pretty cool. We had a really good time. I had a really great time.
Yeah.
I didn't run sound. Andy ran sound. Rain did broadcast audio. I directed cameras because we were recording on cameras too. So it was really fun. I mean, I don't get to do that all the time, but when I do, it's really fun because I get into it. I'm listening to like the band and the click. I know the music. I know what's coming up next. I know we're like, hey, get guitar. Hey, get the bass player, get drummer. Like, anyway, the service was like, what, an hour long? And it felt like it went by so fast.
Right.
I'm going through the songs, doing all the calling all the shots. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're wrapping up. This is the last one. Like, what?
Oh,
like,
wow,
what happened?
Yeah.
It felt like it went by really fast. I guess when you're having fun.
Yeah, exactly. I love that stuff so much. See, it was 1 or 2 weeks ago that I was MDing. So I was on the rotation, but just as MD, which is something every once in a while we're trying, empowering other people to lead. And so I just got to play acoustic run tracks. And I actually love that. You know, and every time it comes up, maybe somebody in the band will be like, hey, thanks. That was actually, I really liked it when you did that. Because normally, you know, I'm like playing my guitar, singing, running the track, going, okay, hey, we're going to the chorus on my talkback mic, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we've just started splitting that up so other people are doing it. But when I get to just focus on the talkback, that is the funnest thing to me. I really love that.
It is. And that's because it lets you like flex a different muscle.
Yeah.
That you're, you know, something different from the same old thing that you're used to doing all the time. It's a lot of fun to just do something that's still creative, still technical, but it's in like a different wheelhouse. You know?
Yeah. And it's been a weird experiment switching over doing this because it's taken the things that I thought, or maybe initially they were just things that I did instinctively or intuitively, and then putting words on them. Like instead of just going, I'm just going to start building here and allow the band to feel it and follow me to go, hey, we're building here, you know? I mean, just to say it out, which was weird for me at first. I remember that being like it felt like a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Where like you're taking sort of the mystical, like, because I love the act of being in a band or creating with other people and things kind of coming out naturally. But then when you start going like, we're going to intentionally do this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's still great.
Yeah. And so now that it's done, you know, the process, the other side of it now is like the editing, getting the audio sent out to the guy who's going to mix it for us. Because we're going to do that all out of house is how you say it? Not in-house, I guess.
It's not in-house, out of house.
It's not in-house, it's out of house.
Externally.
Yeah, I guess. It's really good to have a different set of ears, mix, and kind of pull out the things that maybe you don't hear because you're so used to hearing all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, someone else will master it. And then they're hoping, the plan is to release in November.
Oh, that's a quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround. I think experience tells me it might not happen. Realistic expectations, maybe January, February, but who knows? We have a great team, and the guy who's mixing could turn it around quicker than what I think is normal. And then mastering could take a little, you know, could be quick too.
That's fun. I mean, I love
it's only 2
like
songs.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's faster
2
than
that
normal.
You guys wrote.
Yep.
And so you didn't record, you're not keeping any of the other stuff?
No. We're just editing the 2 that we recorded. So November could could go well.
Yeah, we're coming back into that fall season now where, thank goodness, not just because, hey, the weather's changing and we're back on a normal schedule now, and then you can kind of get back to like planning and following a plan instead of just so-and-so's gone or this thing's, who knows, or we'll try it later on.
Yeah, trying to piece things together as it comes. Yeah, that's always really hard.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for today because my experience with this project that we're going to talk about. Well, first, let's just set this up. And I thought we could set this up in a unique way today.
Okay.
We're going to do a little role play.
Oh, gosh.
Okay?
Okay.
It's 1985. You are a studio executive, and I'm going to pitch to you this movie.
Oh, gosh.
Are you ready?
I have to be... Okay, go.
Hello, sir, Mr. Studio Executive. How are you doing?
Oh, good morrow. How are you?
Good morrow. This is off to a good start. I'm well, thank you. Sir, I know we've talked a little bit offline about this project, but I just wanted to flesh it out for you so you got a sense of where we're going. Have you heard of Alice in Wonderland? Like Disney put out on video 30 years ago?
I do. I am familiar. Yes.
And it's also based on a book, I feel like Disney didn't cater to a more mature audience, and I think there's a market here.
You're right. It was meant for children.
And so all it's going to require of you to put this together and back this project is a large piece of turf.
Okay. Yes.
Not very many sets.
Very cheap. Very cheap.
Very cheap. Some time in recording, but we probably only need 1 or 2 cameras. And every B-list big name you can think of. Can we do it?
Ooh, I like.
It's going to be called Alice in Wonderland, but it's going to be a 2-part TV special.
I love it. I just finished drinking much alcohol and mushrooms and LSD. So let's do it. Let's do anything you want.
Let's do it. I don't even understand how Alice in Wonderland became such a thing in culture because it keeps coming back.
It really, how many movies have been made since this one? Like 7 or 8?
Yeah, so many different versions.
Yeah.
Have you ever read any version of the book?
Nope.
At some point, there was an iPad enhanced when Apple was doing those sort of enhanced books, and I downloaded a free sample of part of it. And it was one of those interactive books where you're reading.
Oh, yes, I remember those. Yeah, for sure.
So I remember that, but I've not read the whole book.
Dude, the only thing that stands out to me that I remember about Alice in Wonderland is the Queen and the Tea Party.
And is this from the Disney version that you're remembering?
The one with, what's her?
Johnny Depp. And,
Johnny Depp.
Yep. Oh, man.
The Queen with the big head, little body, little head.
Yep.
But that and some of the Disney cartoon one. The Mad Hatter, the Rabbit, and the Queen. It's like all that like stuff. Just that's how I remember it. Like, okay, yeah, it's a kid's story about this and that. This was insane.
When I was a kid, the Disney animated one was one of the VHS tapes that we would have in the library and occasionally would come around.
Yeah.
So we just kind of knew it. You would watch it or whatever. This version, in 1985, they released this on TV as a 2-part TV special.
Yeah.
Now, the original Alice in Wonderland, it's Lewis Caroll who wrote this book, and he actually wrote 2 books. So the Alice in Wonderland and the Disney version, and probably what most people are familiar with, is actually book 1, which came out in 1865. Okay?
That's crazy.
Crazy. And then book 2, Through the Looking Glass, came out in 1871.
Gosh.
Okay?
This what we watched, the 2-parter thing, I think it was like a few months before I was even born.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Okay. So this is another one that we're talking about today. Alice in Wonderland, the 1985 live action TV 2-part special. As a kid, we had on VHS, but only part 2. I have never seen what we're talking about today. I have never seen any of it. The only parts that I've seen, remember when you were talking about listening to an album and sometimes when you're listening to something on shuffle, you can hear what's next and you want to...
Yeah.
That's how I know these songs in 10-second clips because I think before part 2, they played like a preview of the first part.
Oh, and it was that, oh my gosh.
And every once in a while, it gets to like a little clip of the cook singing her song about pepper and hatred. And then I'm like, oh, and then next comes, the Mad Hatter in my head. I can see the preview reel.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I've ever seen because when we jumped in, spoiler, it was Jabberwocky. We're just boom, right where this movie ends is where I started.
Oh my gosh.
And so you just have to piece together the basic storyline of Alice in Wonderland in your head, which I was really tempted to say, let's do that for this. But I was also like, well, we've never seen it before. Yeah. Let's start with part 1.
Yeah, and I'd never seen it before either.
Yeah, I knew that.
I cannot believe you've made me go through something that came out of like the nether regions of hell.
Listen, we just talked about Gladiator, and I'm like, we need to find something that could potentially be just nostalgia because Gladiator is too good of a movie.
I mean, you've got to be like the worst type of person for this to be like nostalgia.
I mean, no, I'm just kidding. This is no judgment. This is so weird, and
it is really weird.
We watched this, and I made my family watch it.
What did they say?
We went from, because we were eating dinner, and sometimes lately, we're so busy, the schedule has now started. Okay, guys, we're catching up on TV shows. We'll eat together in front of the TV, which I feel like a failure as a parent, but whatever.
No, it's fine.
So
every now and then it's okay.
But we were eating burgers. Yeah. And I'm like, Amanda, I can't eat this and take notes. Can we just finish watching something else first? And then, okay? So we're watching Rings of Power. I'm catching up.
Okay.
Which is... I know some people don't like it. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And whatever. And it's so epic. And Amazon spent so much money.
Oh my gosh. And the production quality on the thing is crazy through the roof.
And then
the intro.
Oh yeah, with the sand.
Yeah, all of that stuff. Oh my gosh.
So imagine, so I'm done with my burger and there's still like 35 minutes left of the episode. And we're near the end of the first season. So it's getting epic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, I got to get to bed because I have to get up in the morning. We had to switch. So I had to pause. And then we go to Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, gosh. What torture.
So many times, like something is happening and I've never seen this. Yeah. And I'm just looking and laughing because I can't believe what I'm seeing.
I don't know if this is worse than the Star Wars Christmas special. Have you seen that?
I have only heard people talk about it.
I don't know if this was worse. The Christmas special still might be worse than this. Maybe not because it's Star Wars.
But also the expectation, I don't know what expectation was for this, but because Star Wars was Star Wars and was such a big thing, that was really disappointing. When you're coming into this,
I guess,
I don't know what you're expecting.
Was this ABC, CBS?
I was done by MGM, right? MGM Studios, but I can't remember. It might have been ABC.
Yeah, I think it was ABC that put it out.
And but the list of characters cast involved, some of these names I just know, but I don't even know who they are. And then other ones, I'm like, how did they get Ringo Starr into this movie?
Yeah, and who does he play again? Is he in the second?
He's the turtle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's the turtle.
He's the whatever troubled turtle. Oh, my gosh. The whatever.
He's like, well, I used to have a teacher named Tortoise. Stupid. Okay. Why'd you call him a tortoise if he's a turtle? Because he taught us.
He taught us.
He taught us.
He taught us.
That's why I had the English accent as an executive, because I'm figuring this all happened in England.
Yeah, you probably already knew Ringo. That's how he got involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Jane Meadows is the Queen of Hearts.
He's doing LSD with Ringo. That's why he's in it.
I sort of recognize Jane Meadows, but I didn't really know her body of work. Later on, now in part 2, we haven't gotten to her yet, but Sally Struthers is in this. She's the daughter on All in the Family, Archie's daughter.
Oh, okay,
Later on, she's in Gilmore Girls, which my family has been rewatching lately, so I've seen her a lot lately.
Wow.
Scott Baio is in this.
Scott Baio's in this.
He's Charles in Charge.
He's the pig?
He's a cat.
No, he's a pig too. No?
Nope.
Oh, that IMDb is wrong then.
Yeah, he's not a.
Oh, that's right. He's the cat when she's in the house and she's super large.
Yes. Okay. So let's just get into this because you will not believe some of the characters that are in this. Some of them I didn't even realize that I knew who they were until I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah.
The caterpillar.
Sammy Davis Jr.
I know.
Okay.
He was a Satanist, wasn't he?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I think he was.
Okay, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
I think even from the opening credits of this, you know something's about to happen.
Dude,
you know, and the graphics.
Yeah, what was up with that?
What did you feel about that?
It was just so low quality. At first, I thought are they using like paper cardboard and like putting like swashes together? Like, no, this is really, really low quality graphics.
And so you get, though, the cast. This is what it's all about. We're putting all these faces in front of you.
It's like, hey, watch this because we paid a little bit of money to have each one of these people on here.
Yeah, so you want to watch.
It's like,
and then you cut to Alice. Because if you would have just started with Alice in that terrible wig, you would have been like, nah. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not watching this for an hour now.
Back then, I wonder what the ratings were when this came out. How many people actually watched it?
Yeah, I think I read something about that, and I don't remember.
Because
I don't think it did terrible. I think it did okay.
Because in today's world, you're like, woo, no, skip, nope, not watching this. But back then, people probably tuned in. I mean, you got to imagine the commercials. Mm-hmm. This is coming out Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Come, watch this, whatever. Man,
Alice. So
I can't imagine being excited to watch this back then too.
I can tell you, only part 2. As a kid, I definitely watched it a few times. Enough that I can hear the music in my head.
That's crazy.
You know? So here's a 7.5-year-old girl. The whole premise of the story, if you don't know Alice in Wonderland, is she is eager to grow up.
Yep.
And she is not welcome at the tea table.
Yep. How many times does she grow up in this? Grow up and grow down?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
It's all a metaphor. And so her mom kicks her out of the house. You're not old enough to have tea.
Yeah.
Like, give this child a biscuit.
What a jerk.
She's the most polite. Like, I'm like, did kids really act like this? Because my kids are great. They're not this polite.
Yeah.
Okay, mother. I'll go outside and find my sister who's out there reading a book, who in real life is her sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Not that it matters because they're not together very much.
No. And she treats her like crap.
Yes. She's so mean.
And the thing that gets me is like we're in production, we watch these things and whatever. The amount of dead time.
Oh my goodness.
That kills me, man. Where they like, okay, next scene, she's in that field or whatever, bubbly brook, whatever, and she's walking. No music in the background.
Yes, no music.
Nothing. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is dead air.
Which is weird to me because there is so much music in this movie.
When everybody breaks out in song
all the time. So why is there none in between?
Exactly, I don't understand that.
And then they would say lines, and sometimes a character would speak, and there'd be such a long pause, and then the other one would go like, mm-hmm, and then speak, and I'm like, did they mean for those things to be overlapped?
I have no, dude.
Whoever was the editor on this was eating mushrooms himself, or just off campus because it's so unnecessarily long.
It was just like, he edited kind of like how you would edit something that's like a no-cut thing. Hey, only edit out the parts where we like said, hey, let's cut this out and then start over again. That's the only thing you did. You didn't try to like move the video along a little quicker, pace it a little bit better, cut out the awkward silences, nothing.
Awkward silences, exactly.
You just let it roll and edited like, oh, they finished for the day. I'm going to cut and come back the next day when they hit action.
I don't know if this is why she made the suggestion, but my daughter had a great suggestion, which is this would be really fun to do as a school play. That's the pacing of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the pacing of a school play. Yes.
A middle school. No, an elementary school play.
Yeah. And
with adults.
With adults. And I'm thinking watching this, like, yeah, I would actually enjoy watching this as a play. But when you're watching it on television, not so much.
No, dude.
I mean, so she goes outside, to her sister, and the reality of this countryside with the turf hill, it's definitely a studio. We're on the MGM lot.
Yeah.
But they spent all their money on the cast. They didn't have money for the studio. Mm-mm. So it's just this turf hill and a fake looking bridge that might as well have been painted like Mary Poppins. You would have done better.
And the background was just a blue sheet.
Yeah.
Dude, so cheap. I mean, maybe if you're watching it on a TV from back then, like a CRTV, like the big box TVs.
Well, that's exactly what I was watching it on. I was going to say, I remember watching the video. Remember when you used to have to adjust the tracking on a VHS player? You'd have like the static constantly at the top. It was that. Like, I'm sure it wasn't a high quality picture, so it probably didn't matter.
Yeah, it probably didn't matter. It probably like looked fine.
For the listener, I should say, we watched this on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the only place I could find it.
I'm sure I could find it on Plex, but I didn't want to do that to my brother-in-law's server.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what is this?
But also, you know, all the new Disney movies, they come with like a rating now. If it's the old movies, but that are now on Disney Plus, and it's always a warning, like, attention parents may depict, you know, drinking of alcohol or smoking or whatever, like tobacco use. There's no way this would be aired anywhere right now, which is why you really have to dig to find it.
I think people would definitely feel like, oh, this was definitely made with people on some type of hallucinogen.
Okay, which though, the original story is like that.
It is, but I mean, you don't have to go so psychedelic. Or almost brain dead psychedelic.
Well, but if you really watch the animated movie, I remember rewatching that, and we haven't done it recently.
But true, you can get away with stuff, though, on animation that you can't get away with.
Yeah, that rabbit was slightly unconvincing as a rabbit.
The way he's running around. Oh, God.
Well, so did you ever see, and I didn't see it, the new remake or just the movie of Cats?
No.
And I remember the talk coming up to that, and it almost now feels the same, where we're going to have all these, like Taylor Swift was in it, wasn't she? And, you know, Idris Elba was in it. And all these like famous actors.
I mean, you can that just goes to show you can get them to do anything as long as you pay them enough.
And I remember thinking, like,
this is the equivalent from back then.
These are going to be like animated. Like I thought it was going to be like the new Lion King, but no, they were in full-on cat costumes, and it was notoriously panned. People hated it.
Yeah.
And I think it's this.
And it was still CG. They used a lot of CG.
And I can't imagine.
Did you see? There's someone on YouTube who re-edited it a little bit and made clips out of the cats. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But he animated the cat's buttholes into it.
No. What I heard is that they were originally in it.
Oh, really?
And had to be edited out.
So you just put them back in.
That could be wrong. I've never seen it.
Me neither.
Well, then that's not nostalgic.
Terrible. No.
Yeah, we're not revisiting Cats.
Nope.
Well, so watching this, I did think, okay, if as an executive, you're trying to put something on TV that will get viewership.
I think you're just trying to fill space with this one.
Yeah, but somebody must have had a vision, right? Like a
psychedelic vision.
I want to do Alice in Wonderland. We're going to get this cast, and I don't know how else you would get the cast involved. I mean, if you want them on screen, you got to dress Scott Baio up as a cat.
Yeah, crazy.
You can't. I mean, we're not CGIing anything.
I think it would have been better if they didn't go just so overboard with the costumes that way, like the paint, the makeup and stuff. Because you could just give Scott Baio like a top hat and like a couple of whiskers, and that's it. And be like, oh yeah, I'm a cat. And this is just imagination, right? So you don't actually have to go all the way through and put him in a full fur cat suit. You know, it's like...
Of all the things, though...
Put him in a nice suit, you know, and give him whiskers and make him look like a human, but with whiskers, and boom, you sold it. Done.
I think that might make this movie worse. I think them really owning...
Yeah.
Because that rabbit is hopping his heart out.
Yeah.
And I actually was like, okay, I get why you're the rabbit. Like, he was fun to watch. He was like... I didn't think he was a real rabbit. But he really thought he was, or he was getting into that. And honestly, like, you could tell which people they slotted in just because we want this name, and then which people, okay, you actually have legitimate skill. Because that White Rabbit, he was a great actor. Even Scott Baio did really well.
A little bit, yeah.
But when she like cries her tears and ends up in that river and all those birds. And that guy has a one line like, I don't really live here or whatever. I'm like, well, who are you? People probably knew who he was, but he was a terrible actor.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And so the other thing that kind of got me at the beginning was how like naive or dumb she is. Like, drink me. No.
This is a full 1.5 to 3 hour PR special about why you don't pick up mysterious drugs or elixirs and drink or sniff or toke or ingest them. What are you doing,
It's
Alice?
So crazy. Why are you going to follow a rabbit like that? You know, like, she didn't even tell her sister, did you see the rabbit?
No, well, because her sister doesn't care.
Well, sure, but
she's reading a book with no pictures. She doesn't care what Alice is doing. And that's the point of this movie, book, animated, whatever. Alice wants to grow up. She thinks she should be accepted, not necessarily as an adult, but she thinks being an adult is the only way to get her access to being a part of these other people's lives. And they're all looking at her like adults look at kids. Like, one day, fine, but not right now.
Yeah.
And so that was it. And so it's a desperate attempt to grow up, like you said.
Yeah.
But the way that it happens, okay, if you don't know the story, the entrance into the world is she follows this white rabbit she sees, and then she falls down a hole.
Yeah.
And at that point, what really happened? Did Alice hit her head? Did her sister drug her? Like, it feels pretty normal at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, did she fall asleep? She was bored of her sister's book, so she took a nap. Something happens.
Oh, or she just started to imagining these things happening to her. I mean, I can't imagine though her imagining herself being in like a small room with a bunch of doors she can't get through, and then crying out of her hands.
The hands. Oh, they had was so funny.
Tubes in her hands or something.
Yes, and they kept cutting back to it over and over.
Trickling water. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, you ever see that SNL Will Ferrell Christmas special where he's singing that song and he's on that rotating platform and then he gets sick to his stomach and then he throws up, but you can tell there's a tube coming out of his sleeve and he's just, what? That's what this looked like.
Yeah, it really did. It's just, I don't know if they had to do it for that long.
No, that's the case of everything in this movie. This could have been shorter.
Yep.
Most things.
Yeah. And it's like, how did she get all that? Did she become really small again after that?
Yeah.
Because that's how like it made a river of tears.
That's what happens, and then it's in the animated movie too.
But it's big enough to fit like ducks in it. That's unbelievable.
Well, that's the thing. The size plays with your head because later on she's the size of a caterpillar. But to us, when she's walking through the trees, all the trees still look the same size.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're like, did she get bigger? Did she get smaller? Well,
it's weird.
She did, but we don't have the money to put into the sets for this. It's just the one forest that we have.
It's so weird.
So yeah, so she gets locked in this room chasing the rabbit. There's a key on the table. She unlocks it. The door's too small.
She puts the key back onto the table and she's like,
yes!
I can't reach it. You dummy.
And not only that.
I mean, kids are pretty, little kids sometimes can be pretty dumb, but that's like not.
I kept going back and forth with that. Like you expect more of her and then you realize she's a kid and you feel bad for her because she's a kid. So you should include her at the adult tea table. But then also she's acting really childish.
Yeah.
Although sometimes mature.
That's like inconsistent little kid.
So the very first couple scenes, she's taking various drugs, getting bigger and smaller till finally she's giant. Yeah, cakes. What do you think? Did they look appetizing to you?
They did not. They looked like rocks.
Yeah. I remember the animated ones looking, I don't know, better than this.
The animated ones?
Not in this movie.
I gotta watch that again.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But she's huge. She cries all those tears.
Yeah.
Then she gets so small that it's a flood.
Yeah, what does she go through?
There's a little crack in the bottom of the wood door.
Oh, so she's really, really, really that small.
Yes. But
oh my gosh.
They didn't do a very good job portraying that because you don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
And she gets inside and she's in that river of those, I don't know what those creatures are. And
those are, ducks.
She said something about a walrus. And
she's like, is that a walrus? Yeah, it's not.
It's not. And then the birds.
A duck.
A duck,
Ducks, gooses or something like that.
I think.
And everybody's really mean.
They're so mean.
Everyone's really mean.
Which is Alice's perception of adults, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like, why are you all so mean to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Just let me.
And she's not, and she's like polite.
Yes. Yes. And so the first character then she has an interaction with is that mouse who's floating around and comes to that little whatever island that she's on.
Yep.
Did you recognize the mouse?
George from Sanford and Son.
And the Jeffersons too,
Jeffersons,
right?
Yeah, Jeffersons, sorry, yeah.
I can't believe it was him. He's talking. I'm like, how do I know this voice?
Because his voice is super unique, you know?
And he's so like, why?
I'm just a mouse.
Yeah.
I hate cats.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I know a dog that likes to eat rats. Let me tell you another story. And he's like, no, don't tell me, whatever. He's traumatized.
So weird.
Of all the songs to be the first song, because we were talking when we did the Goofy movie, and every time you do a musical, that first song usually sets the tone for the whole thing. It's like the I wish, it's setting the expectation of the character. It's whatever. Alice should have had like I wish I could have tea. I wish I was like my sister and whatever. Yeah. No, the first song we get is this weird little mouse talking about how he hates and he's afraid of all these things.
It's so weird. Yeah, and they're all dancing around him. And then the way it finishes, what does she say? They dismiss her again or something. They say something, you guys are so mean. And she like runs away from them.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
And she says something like, now I know what it means to act like animals.
Yeah, exactly. Because they are animals.
Someone to teach you all proper manners. Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh my gosh.
The whole thing, it plays out like a bad dream, which is like the animated movie.
That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
A bad dream, a bad trip.
Yes.
That first elixir she drank.
Yes. Don't take strange unmarked drugs, children.
Yeah. Because you'll end up hallucinating a caterpillar.
But truly, though,
talking caterpillar.
I mean, you joke, but as a kid, if you're watching this, you're I guess along for the ride, and there's no moment where you think she shouldn't. I mean, you might think she made a bad decision, but if you're thinking, if I was the kid, I would grab the key first and then I would take the drugs. You know, it's not like don't take the drugs.
You don't know that you're going to become big or small.
Yeah, like even later on when she's like, well, everything else makes me big or small. I guess this drug will do something. She doesn't say drug or what in the rabbit's house.
Yeah.
But
did she pick it up when she's still normal size? Because like if you pick it up and I wouldn't put it down again. I'd just hold on to it or put it in my pocket.
I know.
And see what happens with this elixir. But I mean,
something about Alice can't pick up two things at once.
I know.
Puts the key down, picks up the elixir.
Even the rabbit's gloves and fan.
But the fan shrinks.
Yeah, the fan shrinks. But no, there was a fan prior to it, right? There was a fan in the glove somewhere else.
When the rabbit, so she basically this whole story, she's getting in everybody's way and causing problems while she's trying to get included and get back home.
Yeah.
And yeah, this poor rabbit is on a mission. Or poor rabbit, he's a jerk too. But you know, and he has his hat, or excuse me, his gloves and fan that he needs to bring to the queen or the croquet match or somewhere. I don't know, wherever he's going.
Yeah.
And it ends up being left in the room because he runs scared from this giant Alice.
Yeah.
And then she feels bad. So now she's trying to get back to the rabbit to give him what he needs. But all she has is a fan, right? Did she take it with her?
No, she didn't have anything. She got it from that room. But then she took the elixir to get bigger and couldn't get out.
In his house, in the rabbit's house.
Yeah.
He's like, Marianne.
Yeah, why does he call her Marianne?
But he sends her there.
Oh, she's like, he thinks I'm his maid.
And he sends her to the house to get another set of gloves and fan.
Yeah.
And so she goes to get it. She takes the elixir. She grows. Scott Baio is there. And a weird lizard.
That's right. Yeah.
That they send this lizard guy up the house to go in through the chimney.
And she kicks him.
She kicks him way into the air. She's like, oh, I don't think so, Mr. Lizard. And she just shoves her boot in the chimney, and he just launches, and Scott Baio and the rabbit, they just watch this thing fly.
Yeah, and what do they say? They're like, I think they say obviously they say goodbye. Like, I guess we won't see him again. Like, they don't care.
Yeah. Well, that's this weird fantastical land. And they're just like throwing cakes at her, I guess, because eventually she gets small. Because what are they throwing? Was it the
I thought
cakes?
they were throwing rocks.
I thought so at first too, but then she eats.
Oh, no, they turn into the cakes.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
rocks, and then like they magically turn into a cake. And then she eats it and shrinks.
This is such a strange LSD trip.
So crazy.
This whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like the cartoon, the story is this like kid's imagination with the struggle of being a kid and not wanting to be an adult and grow up. And like, I guess there's a lesson in there that she learns other than don't drink random stuff, don't take random drugs. There's another lesson in there somewhere. I don't know. I get the premise. The execution was the thing that is like, what are all these people thinking when they made this? This whole thing could have been a one-parter, honestly. If you move along quickly, and I think, I don't remember the Johnny Depp version of Alice in Wonderland.
And there are two of those. I think I only saw one.
Wait, there's two, like a sequel to that one?
I believe so.
Oh, geez. See, this story is literally a one episode or one movie thing. I don't think it needs to be this whole big thing.
I bet you there's a full-on, if it's not out already, somebody is in development, a full mini series, because people keep watching it. People keep coming back to Alice in Wonderland in its various forms. There are other versions of it too.
I'm sure it's one of those like, hey, you guys want to like take some shrooms and watch Alice in Wonderland?
It can't be everybody though. I watched it. I never took shrooms. You know, how did I end up seeing this?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I mean, back then, you watched TV. and you watched whatever the channel put out, right? So it wasn't like, this was before you can skip, before DVR or whatever. TiVo, remember TiVo?
Yeah, but you weren't being forced against your will.
No, but I mean, there was only a certain amount of channels. And like, let's say there was, I don't know, let's say your family wasn't into watching football that night. You're like, well, what else is there to watch? Oh, they're putting on this special. Cool, let's watch that instead. Or I don't know.
I'm saying it was more than that because somehow in our household, nobody was doing any drugs. And this part 2 got recorded on VHS and stayed in our library for years.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm surprised my dad didn't do the same thing. Because my dad was always recording stuff off the TV.
So that's what I feel like they built it up as an event. And it took somehow.
Man.
And it's still, because, talk about shrooms. So then she meets this caterpillar who's similar in the animated version, smoking the Hubble Bubble.
Yeah, the Hubble Bubble.
It's Sammy Davis Jr. with the hookah on the thing. And he's
on the mushroom.
Caterpillar. And he's obviously standing inside the mushroom, inside this costume. Yeah. And he's just, I don't understand why they got him for this movie. How did that conversation...
For the music part.
It was definitely, yeah.
Definitely for the music part, but...
He is not a good actor.
No.
Does he act in anything else?
I don't think so. Not that I know of.
One of my kids is like, is he vaping?
Is he vaping?
I guess kind of. And she has this whole interchange with him and he's like, well, just, she relays that she's kind of not remembering things like she used to. And he encourages her to say some poem.
Yeah.
And she's
that's right.
Oh, sure. I know
the poem.
And I know this Old Father William.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know Old Father William.
And then he like interrupts her and and takes it over, right?
Well, because she can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
She's stuck on it. And he says, okay, well, let me help you. And then he takes a toke of his hookah. And then boom, now they're pirates.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
He's got legs.
We know that they can edit. Now we know that they can edit.
Yeah, somebody edited
it, but they didn't edit it the rest of the movie.
It just took
so crazy.
a little bit of the Hubble Bubble.
Oh my gosh.
And then and honestly, I of all the parts of this movie, them dancing and singing and their outfits, all better. This is all an improvement. I don't know that it makes the story better, but it's the most entertaining thing probably I've seen so far.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the end where she meets the queen. At the end.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't got there yet, but I think that holds up a little bit better than this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all blurred too.
I'm not saying I would download this song and listen to it often. I just mean like, okay, I guess this is why Sammy Davis Jr. is in this movie.
Yeah.
And
maybe
then
he had more creative control, which is why it went a little bit better.
Yeah, they're tap dancing. He's like, here are my skills.
Yeah.
I can read off a few lines. I can sing. I can tap dance. Let's do a little tap dancing number with the caterpillar, which would have been impossible with 80 legs.
Yeah.
So let's give him 2.
Yeah.
And then he just transforms back.
Yep, he transforms back and then he like disappears again.
When she insults him.
Yeah.
She's like, because being this small is terrible.
That's right.
And he's like, excuse me, I am this small. And he disappears.
Yep.
And then she's off. And then the next thing I did not remember, I don't know if it's in the story, there's that like frog footman intercepting mail for the Duchess, inviting her to the Queen's croquet match.
Yeah.
And then he sits outside. This is all filled with very long, unnecessary pauses.
Yeah. And goes, why? She rings the gate and he's like, well, it's going to take you forever because I'm on this side of the gate.
Yeah. Like, I'm not helping you.
Stupid.
Which is every grown up in this movie. And so she decides I'm going to go in myself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why she's going into this house. She just wants help.
Yeah, she wants help. She wants to find home.
She opens up the door and there are 3 characters. This crazy cook who puts too much pepper in everything.
And then a lady with a baby.
This angry Duchess shaking this baby.
Crazy.
And the thing is, and you can tell it's a fake baby.
It's a fake baby. But then they cut to a real child at some point.
They cut to a real child and you hear like a real child's crying.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, this should be censored.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah, did they really like wake the baby up from a nap to get it to cry? Like this is one of those like, I don't know if you guys just went and, recorded a baby crying before all of this and just used it and inserted it. You guys literally, I feel like they were like, hey, we need the baby to cry here. Okay, well, just tap it on the head a little bit. And then they got it to cry. I feel like it just feels like the quality of this, where they didn't think of any, or they didn't have the way to do all that beforehand. So
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and go, oh, of course they wouldn't do that. But then I think,
no, I think they did it.
I mean, all those stories about how they treated, Judy Garland or
maybe
whatever.
Maybe they
actresses.
got the mom or the dad to be like, hey, can you make your child cry? We don't want to do it ourselves, but if you do it, okay, fine.
Take away its toy. Don't feed it for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, this
tap it on the head until it starts crying. Annoy it until it starts crying, and then we'll roll.
She's like shaking this thing and it won't be quiet. Meanwhile, the cook is throwing and breaking dishes.
Yeah, what is that about?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't know if it's in the original story. I don't know why she's doing this, but she's putting all this pepper in her soup and just throwing dishes. And then she sings that full song about why it's okay to be hateful.
Yeah, what in the world?
That was a whole...
Is that Alice's like mentality? She's
projection.
Just projection. She thinks that adults think it's okay to be that way.
Yeah, that must be it.
That must be it. Because why else?
I don't know. But then after the song, she just runs off with their baby.
Yeah, that's right. She steals the baby.
Because the Duchess goes to get ready for the croquet match. She grabs a baby and hightails it out of there.
Yeah, because she, I like how when the music's about to start, she just flops the baby down on the crib.
Yeah. It's so violent.
So unnecessary. She
runs off with this baby and you're thinking, well, I mean, Alice, you did the right thing. And then the baby transforms into a pig.
She's like, yeah, they're gonna end up killing this thing.
And then was it in the world of Wonderland? Was this thing going to transform into a pig and then be put in the soup?
Oh God, I don't know. That's crazy thought. I didn't think of that, but maybe.
Because then you think, I'm not saying it's okay to slam the baby, but is that what they were thinking? This is just a pig? I'm also not saying it's okay to slam a pig.
Yeah.
Just everybody calm down. But like, is this the thought process?
Maybe Alice didn't know this was going to be a pig or was a pig. I don't know. Her imagination like mix it up. Oh, it's a baby, but it's a baby pig.
Yeah. It doesn't matter either because then...
Oh my gosh. I didn't think of that. They're going to put that pig in the soup.
Maybe it'll come back in part 2. Who knows?
I don't know.
But then she runs into the Cheshire Cat, Telly Savalas. It's Kojak.
Yeah.
He's full-on cat costume.
He was the best. I think he was the best one.
He was real. I'm like, okay, this guy is an actor. And a singer.
Yeah.
He had the meanest song, but his voice sounded so nice.
Yeah, I think I just kept waiting for it because I knew this would happen where his like body disappears.
Yeah, just his head is left.
Yeah. I was waiting for that, and when it finally happened, I was like, "Ooh, this is not good."
No, bad execution. Yeah. And again, a lot of awkward pauses.
Yes. Oh my God. And he's just his face. It's so weird.
Meow, baby. That's my favorite line now. I'm just going to say that every time I leave a room.
Oh my gosh.
But his like soulful, like deep vocals just filling up the forest.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right. This sounds nice. They recorded it well. The audio.
Yes.
The audio was great.
The video.
You could tell when
they used that same camera
recording came in. Yeah.
That whole same camera the entire time.
The whole time.
Oh my gosh.
And he's just as mean.
That poor camera operator, he's sweating.
Yeah, he's following her around just in circles in this fake forest. Yep. While they set up the next scene at the MGM studio. It's probably that giant camera they used for The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my gosh.
We're in Technicolor now.
Oh my gosh.
A long time after. And so she's just trying to find somebody to help her. And he's like, well, if you go that way, you're going to find the Mad Hatter.
Yep.
If you go that way, you find the Hare. But they're all mad.
And so are you.
So are you. I'm mad. You're mad. We're all mad.
He's probably right, though. She is mad.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to see somebody that's mad.
Oh, and the amount of times they drop the word queer.
Yeah. This is the queerest day of all. Yeah. This thing is so queer. How queer this is. I expect something queer to happen now.
It's like, what happened to that word?
When I take this mushroom, I bet a queer thing will happen to me.
Yeah. It's like, what? That was just a normal. What did that even mean?
It's just odd, unexpected, strange.
Okay.
That was like, yes, this queer thing is happening.
So today, when people use this word, they mean it's completely different now.
They mean out of the norm.
Yeah, yes.
Don't settle for a cat having a body. He could just be a head. Meow, baby.
He could just be a head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very queer cat.
He was a very queer cat. And so she goes on and finds this tea party, which to me, like you said, iconic. Yeah. Like this is what you kind of think of when you think of Alice.
And they have to like move from one seat to the next, right?
Like move down. No room.
There's no room because they're going to take up every seat eventually.
And let the puns commence. It's just all puns, just nonstop.
So crazy.
Which I actually kind of enjoyed.
Yeah. as a dad.
Really, I did.
Dad puns.
And this rabbit, this other hare, I liked him as an actor. I was like, oh, this guy's a good actor. The Mad Hatter, I'm okay with. He was funny until he got to that creepy song about laughing, which was very ironic. And the mouse you hardly know is there.
I know. Is he drunk?
He's drunk.
Oh, okay.
Remember? Because the Mad Hatter's like, can you sing Twinkle Little Star? And she starts singing it in her pretty voice, which the girl has a good voice. And then he goes on, I prefer, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Bat, how I wonder where you're at.
Yeah.
Right? And then the mouse pops up and he's like, Twinkle, twinkle, little skunk, how I wonder if you're drunk. Yeah. And then he puts his head back down.
Yeah. I think that's probably for the parents. Those puns, those jokes. I mean, do kids understand?
Well, I think the rabbit was the next one. I just watched this scene again this morning because I wanted to remember it. And then he's like, twinkle, twinkle, little ant, I wonder what happened to your pants.
What?
It's the most, whole movie is like, we're just going to write this script in one go. Go.
Yeah. Like what two people wrote this and thought there was a great idea.
Yeah.
There was no committee. This did not get bogged down by a committee.
No, we're not stopping this. We got to get it on TV.
There was no what are those things where they do they put it in front of an audience to poll how it goes.
Yeah,
what
like
was
a
that
test
called?
Audience. I know what you're thinking.
They did not put that through a test audience to be like,
screening.
All right, a screening. Hey, what do you guys think? Anything we should change? Nope. There was no other brains involved.
I'm fully confident in my vision in this project because Alice in Wonderland is beloved by all.
This had to be made by the executive who owned the studio and was just like, let's just do it.
My granddaughter loves this story. I'm going to bring it to life for her.
For her. Some bratty little kid was like, Daddy, I want you to make this into a real movie. And he was like, but we need people to like write this. Yeah. Baruch Salt demanded that this was made. And like parent just gave in and was like, fine, I'll pay all this money to get all these people to do this.
You know what makes me, because you mentioned the Star Wars Christmas special, think of that is when they originally sold that project, it was supposed to be just shorter than it actually was.
Yeah.
But it was gaining so much momentum that they ended up extending it. And that's why you have all that ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And that almost feels like this.
Yeah.
We sell this thing, people are getting on board, we have all these actors involved. We can start, and then the actors, maybe the cast are starting to get the word out, and other people are finding out, I want to be involved in this big project, and so maybe then they extended it. We're going to make it 2 parts, a 2-part TV special, and then it ends up in this thing with weird random scenes and long pauses and weird characters.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know how many of them were in the book. I was going to say it almost makes me want to read the book, except this makes me never want to read the book.
No. I mean, maybe when you're reading it, you put your own imagination into it, because I mean, the Disney movie, the cartoon does work better only because it's animated and the cat is an actual cat.
Yep.
And
also a great actor, voice actor.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a costume that has to be well made and kind of has to sell you on what this person is now a cat instead of this outfit that clearly is just like super cheap, overdone. Like it's not attractive looking. And I think that throws you, takes you out of it.
This is not the only movie of its kind that was in our archive.
It would have benefited from a soundtrack.
Yeah, definitely so.
My gosh.
But I was going to say, we had at least one other movie I can think of with animals being depicted by humans that was very similar. And I don't know if there are a lot more of them out there, but I don't know. I guess it was just accepted that this is how we're pulling this off. It's like a play.
Yeah.
Because I bet Telly Savalas would have been even more amazing as an animated cat.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and you just take that out of your sight. You can't do a really nice set,
If you can't say something nice, don't make any movie at all.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Enough of this tomfoolery.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cuts to that, she's like, oh, well, you guys really do make me laugh. And he's like, yes. And then he's like, he sings this whole song about, laugh. But it's not even, I almost went into the, when your heart is breaking. But it's not that. It's not. It's just like, he's like staring her down like, laugh. But it's the saddest, creepiest part of that whole encounter.
So weird.
Which I don't know if that was deliberate or that's just the way this man sings. The Mad Hatter.
True. Yeah, maybe.
I have no idea. I really don't know.
I don't. That reminds me of Matt Redman.
What?
When he would sing.
Yeah.
And lead, his face is just so like straightforward, no emotion, but he could be like singing something so emotional, but his face is still just straight.
Oh, yeah. No, this Mad Hatter was different. He was very expressive, but the tone of his song did not match what he was singing about.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Laugh even when your skies are gray. Like this Mad Hatter has been through some stuff.
Yeah. He's like contemplating all sorts of things.
I don't know what's in the tea. I mean, that's, I guess, why he said when she finally sits down and he's like, can we offer you some wine? And she's like, oh, no, thank you. I think I'm too young to drink that. Yeah. And he's like, well, it's okay. We don't have any anyway. I think they had something. Yeah, that mouse obviously was drinking something. They were all drinking something at that table.
Maybe that's what she thinks of adults. At the table, they're always just drinking.
You know what, though? When you say that, I'm like, oh, yeah. There's some thought into this.
Yeah.
Again, poorly executed.
Yes. So maybe the book is better. I don't know. Maybe there's some exposition or thought that Alice is having.
And that you're not getting that.
You're not getting that in this. Yeah.
Yeah. She'd have to be like, I wonder, why do all these adults drink this strange liquid? Your breath smells funny.
Yeah. Or maybe it's to be assumed that you've read the book, you know what's going on.
Maybe.
You know what she's actually thinking. I don't know.
Well, you were saying the Mary Poppins song makes you think of this one or this makes you think of that one. I Love to Laugh.
Yeah.
The guy who loves to laugh is the voice of the animated Mad Hatter in the Disney one.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this is a casting issue also.
Yeah. I don't think there's so many issues. I don't know if casting is the only one.
And I don't even remember.
This probably would have benefited if it wasn't known actors trying to make it, because they would have put way more effort into it.
Yes. These guys are just like, I'm Telly Savalas. Meow, baby.
Yeah, I don't have to try. I'm getting paid. I already got paid. They paid me up front.
They paid me to be here. I didn't sign the contract until I got whatever. I don't know how much they got paid for this.
Dude.
And then their conversation at the table ends, and I can't remember what they say except that the Mad Hatter calls her stupid.
Yeah. Which is probably adults have called kids stupid before.
It really, though, it's like that track on Creed that we talked about. Like, if you actually think too much about this, it gets real sad.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh.
Because then she's off into the forest again, and she has that interchange with a fawn. It's a real live baby deer.
That's right, it is, yeah. And it really looked like it was going after her fingers.
Yeah, she had some food in her hand and it was like nibbling on her fingers.
Yeah.
My daughter bit me yesterday and she blamed it on me.
What?
Yes. I was in the back of the room running the soundboard. It was dark in there for their youth group service. Yeah. I don't even know why I'm telling you this other than the deer bit her finger.
Yeah.
And I was making some gesture. I talk with my hands. I more than once almost knocked somebody out.
Yeah.
I guess she was standing there. She full on bit my finger. I'm like, why did you bite me? And she's like, you stuck your hand in my mouth. I'm like, that doesn't give me a reason why you bit me. But apparently she was just in the middle of emotion saying something. So I literally just got it into her mouth at the exact time that her mouth was closing.
That is hilarious. That's pretty cool.
Is it? I don't know. My finger hurt. Better now.
It's like just like the timing of it all.
Yeah, it was weird, crazy timing. But she's alone with this fawn, and her song is basically like, people be crazy.
Yeah, people be crazy because they are.
Everybody here is nuts. Why are people so mean?
Are people nuts, or is she nuts? Because she's the one imagining all this.
Yeah. Based on all of her childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Her mom was probably shaking her to make her. Probably what happened. Her sweet mom setting the tea table. Oh, you're not an adult now. Was her mom played by the same woman that plays the Duchess?
I don't know.
Now that I say it, like they look the same. It can't be.
It can't be.
It can't be.
And I don't think it is.
Please, God, let it not be. I don't even want to look it up. Oh, how traumatic.
But yeah, oh my gosh. But I mean, is this kind of like one of those things where childhood traumas, we do the same thing maybe? Is the message like we automatically assume people are going to be a certain way because of our childhood traumas?
Now that we're adults, you mean? Or as a kid?
Both, maybe.
I don't know.
As an adult, you're like, oh yeah, this is the things that adults do. And then is it a vicious cycle of like treating kids like this too? Do we just end up being the adults in Alice's world? Oh gosh.
If you were a character in this part one, who would you be?
I'd be like the tree in the background.
No, not like who would you choose to be? You know, if there was a quiz that told you who you were in this universe based on your personality, I think
I'd be one of the playing cards, painting the roses red. I'd be like, we planted the wrong ones. We got to paint them red. We're just going to cut our heads off. I'd be that guy.
Nobody ever notices my work until I do something wrong, and then it's all my fault.
Yeah.
I've been out here slaving every day. Look at how amazing these roses are growing.
I'm going to get my head chopped off because they're not red. The white ones are still really pretty.
Even though they clearly asked me for white, you know?
Wow.
That's really funny. Well, yeah, but she ends up basically in the garden where that all this is going to take place with the queen and stuff. I think that's where she ends up, where she saw it through the door.
Yeah, she wanted to end up there in the first place.
That's where she was trying to get.
Yeah.
And so she gets there and like everything is getting queerer and queerer.
Yeah,
or whatever.
my God, yeah.
And she's just dancing through the garden.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just carefree.
She just forgot about trying to go home.
Yeah, I guess she's just
I wouldn't be that happy.
Maybe she drank a little bit of the tea.
Yeah, maybe. Or whatever the fawn was eating.
Oh, yeah.
That's still like on her fingers.
What did happen with that fawn? I do wonder.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
The lady with the pepper got it.
Oh, mix it with the pig. Venison or pork.
Yeah, she's like happy to be there. And I'm like, you don't know where you are yet still.
Yeah.
Why are you happy? That seemed out of place to me. Like, what in the world?
It's a garden. It's I don't know why. Yeah, that's so much more of a goal for her.
And then she runs into those cards. Are the cards a royal flush? I don't know. I just made that up.
No, they're not. One of them's a 2, isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I wondered, have these actors seen the Disney movie? Because this dialogue sounds very similar.
Oh, really?
Not even just that the words are the same, because it probably came from the book. But the way that they're delivering it, you could almost hear the little animated.
I'm telling you, man, that's the part that probably sticks the most in people's memories is the animated in this scene, like with the queen.
And here she comes
off with her head,
with her entourage.
Oh my gosh!
You know, the whole everybody's coming with her, and there are other.
And why is she in charge? Why isn't the king in charge?
Well, and there's also another queen and king.
Oh, that's right.
More than one. Because you meet the Queen of Diamonds later, and she doesn't say who she is, but she's really sweet to Alice. I'm like, oh, she's much nicer. Why isn't she? Why? I mean, she's just not as domineering, I guess, as the Queen of Hearts.
I guess so. Absolute, power corrupts absolutely.
And this King of Hearts is a real patsy.
He's dumb.
He's just along to make his wife, and she's a little crazy sometimes, but she never actually beheads anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh my gosh. So weird.
And then the rabbit comes back.
He's such a pushover.
Yeah, he definitely is. What's the rabbit's position in the Queen's court? Because way back when Scott Baio kept calling him like Your Honor or something.
Yeah, that's right, Your Honor. Is he a judge? Is he
and I guess it's a play
on bishop? I don't know.
It's a play on words where like, oh, you wait till part 2. There's like a play on words where like the Queen's court, the cross between them being decks of cards and then a court, like the Queen's court, but then the courtroom, because then they're going to have like whatever.
Oh, a trial.
Yeah, but still the rabbit's just like frolicking about. And she's off with her head. Yeah. Oh, when she said whatever, Alice keeps back talking her, and she's off with her head in small increments. I thought that was funny.
Stupid. Well, but so why all of a sudden is she back talking? She never back talked to anybody else. She never corrected anybody else.
I think she's had it.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't think the character has evolved where I saw that happen.
Or is the Queen like your mom, and you're just comfortable enough that you just back talk your mom, but you wouldn't back talk like a stranger?
Well, Alice didn't back talk her mom.
No, but maybe she wanted to.
Maybe she wanted to. This is like a proxy for her mother.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It would make more sense if it was like her stepmother or something like that.
Right. You're right.
Because isn't it mom's always the worst?
Always, at least in Disney.
Yeah. So her mom wasn't terrible. She's just like, you're not old enough for the tea party. Go play outside.
But when the video cameras are on, when they're off, her mom's like seething. She's like, I told you last time that you can't sit at the table.
I'm going to hit you with the broom.
I'm going to shake you before you squeal like a pig.
Wow.
You know?
I'm going to drop you into your room.
Oh, poor Alice. She's really been through a lot. Honestly, I have a lot of sympathy for her and this lady screaming off with their heads. And like I said, I had never seen this part of it, and I didn't expect it to be as on the nose as like the Disney version with the flamingos.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, Disney was maybe dodo birds or something, but they're playing croquet with the birds' heads.
Yeah, exactly.
And the little, what are they, gerbils or
guinea pigs?
Guinea pigs?
Yeah. The guinea pigs. And the way they hit the guinea pig and it just slides.
It's just
the thing.
Yeah. It's like flying across the floor.
And they still give it the croquet mallet sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not so convincing.
No.
Which, I mean, the Cheshire Cat comes back and he's not so convincing either.
Yeah. And he's not worried about anything. He doesn't care.
No.
She's like, off with his head. And he's like, I'm just a head.
I'm just a head.
Not much of a cat without a head. Stupid.
And the Duchess comes back.
Like, how do I wipe this from my memory after this?
You can tell we're coming to a conclusion here, at least of part one, because the Duchess returns and you find out that it's basically Alice's fault that the Queen wants the Duchess's head cut off or something. It seemed that way. I don't even know. It really doesn't make any sense. We're just kind of going from one thing to the next. And then why was there a trapped goat?
Was it just a tractor? Was it just a ploy to get her to the next thing?
That's what it seems like. She's just kind of off to the next thing. She saves it, and then there's a clapping monkey.
That's right, yeah. And all of this whole time, all these animals are played by human beings.
Not the monkey or the goat.
Exactly. Those are the only two
or the
things.
Fawn.
Yeah, the only three things.
Cat, Dinah.
Was there a real cat?
Yeah, her cat at the beginning.
Oh, but that was like in the real world.
Yeah.
But in the fake world,
the pig, the baby pig.
Yeah, I guess so.
Look at all these real animals.
That's so crazy. It just stood out to me that like, wait, you could have put a guy in a monkey suit like you did everything else.
Could you imagine?
They paid real money to get a real monkey, and a real orangutan.
And it basically did nothing
chimpanzee.
Except wave.
Yeah,
it's like a little wave goodbye.
It's like, what in the world?
It was cute. But what are you going to do? Take the little infant and then put pig ears on it and a little snout?
Yeah, that would have been funny. At least it would have been consistent with the rest of the...
It wouldn't have been as shocking, though. She's rocking the baby and it just grows a fake pig nose. You wouldn't really care as much. But it's pretty devastating when it's an actual pig and it runs away.
It would have lent to the whole, like, these costumes are pretty cheap looking.
Yeah.
You know?
Just imagine if you had to do it as a stage play. You have to get a real pig in there.
I know.
And a goat. And then off to the griffin, which didn't really matter. You get that griffin, that kind of stuck-up griffin guy. I don't know who the actor was. I'm sure he's well-known. Yeah. But then you go right to the mock turtle, which is Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
And his crazy dialogue and his song.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
No, me neither. He's just in there because he's Ringo Starr. And it was like, okay.
And this is that whole section where you think like it just got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Because they had all these people.
We're just going to keep adding people. And honestly, when I saw that he was involved, I was a little bit excited to see him in it.
Really?
Well, it's Ringo. I was just like, guys, Ringo is in this. And it was a real letdown.
They kind of they really lost an opportunity there because they could have had him do the song behind a drum kit or something.
They didn't have any live instruments in this, though. That would have been a real complication for them.
The monkey wasn't?
You just had the monkey playing the drums. So, yeah, and he's not a good actor either.
No.
But why did they all of a sudden have freeze breath? And you notice that in this song that he had like animated blue breath? He would breathe out. You didn't see that part?
Weird, yeah.
And then all of a sudden she could, and the griffin, they were breathing out this weird.
It was that like the stuff that knocks her out so that she wakes up again and at home, in quotations.
They're all doing drugs still. That's what all this is, right?
Yeah.
Was it even like you could interpret it this way or another way, or we're just full on, we're all doing drugs in this movie?
I think so, man. I think it's just like, I'm a kid, I'm going to do drugs, and adults suck.
And it culminates, she gets back into the Queen's Court. There's an actual trial going on with a jury full of bird-headed animal-human hybrids straight out of the Seven Circle of Hell. They're all just with their notepads and they're crazy.
They are crazy. Everyone's crazy in this. I think there's no qualms about just not being in right mind.
And we're bringing everybody back. We're going to call our first witness, and it's the Mad Hatter who comes back with the rabbit, with the mouse, or the March Hare, or the whatever he is. And then he sings a whole song about
the March Hare. Why are you the March? Because I worked my way up.
Yeah, exactly. And then the song is all about how I didn't do whatever you think I did, or something like that. I don't really remember very well. And then the cook comes back. With all the pepper.
Yep, and she's a witness, I guess. I don't know.
Her pepper has the consistency of cocaine, does it not?
It does, yeah. It's super powdery.
And it's all over. Was it Alice's face or her face? Or it's just getting everywhere. And
it's like a big pepper mill, but it's like blasting out powder.
And the king just keeps demanding, like, give me a verdict. He just wants his trial over with so he can go to bed or have a drink.
What does he say? Something about like, oh, well, there's no point, then we should all go.
I don't remember.
It's so dumb. It's just, they were trying to be funny, but it's a technical term for like when you're in trial.
Yes.
And you're trying to come up with not the verdict, but like the evidence. There is no something, whatever. I'm trying to remember, but it's just it was so dumb. See, I don't remember.
I wish you remembered, because that would be a great tagline for this whole movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
If there's no point, we should all go.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's literally what it was.
And then so Alice grows again. And
freaks everybody out.
She's basically the next witness or evidence or whatever else they keep asking for. And she says, who says it? The queen? Like, or the king? There's no doubt about it. You're growing up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're just gonna nail on the head every time now. Like, it's all about growing up, hating adults, and doing drugs.
Yeah. Psychedelics.
You need drugs so you can understand that in order to be an adult, you don't really have to be an adult, because being an adult is just a whole false dichotomy, and nobody's really an adult. And are we even here? And give me another drink.
Oh my God, give me another drink. And lace those biscuits with something fun. Like, what in the heck? And she runs away. And did you notice? They purposely put like shrubs that look like trees.
Yeah.
For her to run through.
Giant.
For like 2 seconds, you see her run through that, and you're like, oh, did you guys spend extra money just to make trees look smaller?
Yeah, they did. It was like the little dino sets you would buy as a kid.
You couldn't. But that was the only effort. The rest of the time, she's really small, but we're not going to put anything else to make anything else to scale.
Nothing's to scale, and everything else takes so long. And this is like so quick, and it's like you don't even get a sense for how big she is, because now all the playing cards are attacking her, right? And they're all on her legs or whatever, but. Then she's in the forest again. And this is the part where my kids were like, did she change size again? I'm like, nope. She's still giant. And the only reason you know that is because the playing cards all fly up in the air and then they're actually playing cards. She's still big. But it didn't feel like that at all.
No, because they did not do a good job of the scale, of her surroundings.
So then she just trips and she wakes up in a pile of cards and leaves.
Well, the cards turn into leaves. She wakes up in that field again. Yeah. She wakes up and leaves. So she couldn't have fallen there and have had this like fever dream, I guess, because she ran away from that spot in the beginning.
Well,
unless she's acting like, if somebody were like seeing her, maybe she was just playing in the field and she actually fell there at the end. I don't know.
I don't feel like I can make that assumption, because we find out she's not actually home.
Exactly.
Which is maybe the most terrifying thing of this. She thinks she's home.
True.
It looks like home. I didn't pay attention to see if the house is a reverse, but I can't imagine they would have spent the money to do that. So it probably looks exactly the same.
True.
And she goes into the room. She's finally home, but nobody's there.
Yeah, she hears the cat. She doesn't see it, but when she looks in the mirror, the cat's in the room.
Can you imagine?
That was cool.
Like, this is... And I think this is why maybe I thought part 2 is more compelling, because as a kid, the idea of nobody being home and you being by yourself, like, this brings us right back to what we were talking to at the beginning.
Yep.
That's the terrifying element of it. So now it's either I stay with the stinky adults in my life, You know, in her case, like they won't include me, so whatever. Maybe she loves her mom.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying she doesn't, but then she's not included there. She's with all these crazy creatures, doesn't want to be there, and her only other choice is to be by yourself.
Yeah.
Which is what she doesn't want. But now, like, traumatizing by yourself.
I mean, I think, so the only thing about that is, like, maybe being by yourself would be not that bad if, like, you can interact with, like, the things in your home. Like, your mom makes dinner. She doesn't see you, but you can still partake. You don't have to deal with any of the meanness of adults, but you can just survive and live in your home.
This sounds like the making of an actually pretty compelling movie, you know? Because I think you would find missing that relational connection would drive somebody crazy.
Yeah, probably.
Like legitimately crazy.
You can just talk to somebody and they don't ever respond.
Yeah, because that's it. So like you said, she sees her cat in the mirror and then her parents, her dad who you've never seen.
Yeah.
They come to the mirror and they're just checking themselves in the mirror of their outfits because they're going out. And she's yelling. This is like a bad dream. Can you hear me? I'm here. I'm right here. And they're just looking in the mirrir at her, but they don't see her.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just looking at the reflection.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they did a really good job with at least that visually wise, because they had to have made 2 exact sets for that to work.
Were they exact mirrors? Because I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, you know, if you scrutinize it, I'm sure you'll find some flaws in it. But just looking at it really quickly, you're like, oh, it really does look like she's in the same room, but on the other side.
Yeah.
They did a decent job of that.
And she sits.
I'm sure they don't keep it up in the next one.
She sits down next to that Jabberwocky book that she picks up and is this terrifying Jabberwocky poem, which, have you ever heard the word Jabberwocky?
Mm-mm.
I only know it because of part 2.
Okay.
And then she's, oh, well, good thing I'm grown up, so I'm not afraid.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
whole point of the movie, right, or whatever. Yeah. So now we're talking about fear. Like, so like maybe the first half was all about loss or exclusion or something. And then this part is like the fearful part of being a kid. I don't know.
Or being an adult. Or both.
Yeah, like transition. I need to be brave enough if I'm going to grow up.
Or maybe it's those fears you have as a kid that you still have and you take along with you as you become an adult.
There's only one way to know this, Josue.
Is to suffer through another hour and a half.
I think, though,
of a psychedelic trip.
And before we give our take on this, which I'm sure people are wondering, is I think we give it a little bit of a break. Like, we don't come back to this immediately next week. We just let it sit.
Let it simmer.
Yeah. Just for a little bit. Oh, because what we did.
I don't think that's a soup that gets any better.
What we didn't say is she reads this creepy Jabberwocky book. Yep. And then you get the lightning sound, which they used more than once in this story. Mm-hmm. And then the lights flicker. Yep. And then she's like scared, obviously.
And what is it that comes out?
The Jabberwocky.
It looks like a dragon.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's like a creepy boogeyman, dragon, dinosaur.
Yeah.
Slick, slimy body and little hanging.
They did a good job of not putting a lot of light on this thing because I'm sure this is not a good looking costume either.
And Lord knows who's inside.
Oh, yeah. It's probably, what's his name again? Sammy Davis Jr.
He's inside that. Actually, I looked it up. I think the same guy is involved in a bunch of horror movies now. I'm going to have to look it up after this. And maybe next time we talk about it, we can dig into who's the Jabberwocky.
Oh, my God.
What did you think? Did you expect this ending at all?
Well, only because I watched part 2, the beginning of part 2 before part 1.
Oh, you did the wrong one first?
Yeah. Well, it was like the one that comes up on YouTube really quickly is part 2 for some reason.
No, maybe that's the one that everybody loves.
You see the beginning part of it and like, oh, this is part 2, whatever. I don't know what's going on. And they tie it in. Really, I mean, I don't know if they even stopped filming. The editor was probably like, all right, I'm going to stop right here, get to it tomorrow. And then they were like, we need part 1 and 2 together. This is supposed to be a whole thing. And they're like, well, I can't finish editing the other one, so just make it a 2-parter. I think that's probably what happened. Because the way it cuts.
It was 2 books. It's 2 stories.
True. But I mean, I'm like, again, you don't have to make it 2.
I also heard that there's an alternate ending that like the one that we saw, I believe, was the original because it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But then when they packaged them for sale, they wrapped it up in a nicer way at the ending, so it doesn't end with this Jabberwocky stuff.
Oh, okay.
She's like home, but then at the beginning of the next one, you realize, she's
not at home. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
So this guy that was a Jabberwocky is responsible for writing Friday the 13th Part 6. Jason Lives.
One of the worst.
That's one of his top credits.
Oh, gosh.
Date with an Angel. Sometimes they
Date
come
with
back.
an Angel wasn't bad.
You know that? I've never heard of it.
Date with an Angel with oh my gosh, I forget the main actors.
I don't know either. Sometimes they come back and the unsaid. Most of this not heard. But he's done a lot of creepy stuff after this, so I guess that's his thing.
Date with an Angel is probably that's a nostalgia one for me, I think.
Really?
I don't know if that would be like if it's any good now, if it holds up or not. But that was a funny one. It's basically like this guy, an angel falls from heaven into his swimming pool.
Yes.
He rescues her out of the swimming pool. She's on Earth. And he basically falls in love with her. She falls in love with him. She can't speak because she's an angel. So she's just... But then animals...
Wait, why does an angel not speak?
I don't know. Animals are... attracted to her. She'll be in the woodlands and she's like all the animals come to her. And everybody who sees
this... a horror movie?
No, it's not a horror movie.
It's not?
No, it's a romantic comedy.
Oh.
And everybody...
I all this time was expecting it to take a dark turn.
No, it's not. He's engaged, by the way. He's engaged to another woman.
Before he meets this angel.
Before he meets this angel.
Okay.
And this angel kind of changes his heart, and he's really wants to be with her.
Yes.
And yeah, this is a movie you should watch because it's pretty crazy.
I was trying to look this up because one of the other guys that I had tagged as a cast member in this was the Frog Footman. And the only reason I tagged him as this is because it's Robert Axelrod. You know the name?
He's a singer from Guns N' Roses, right?
No, that would have...
Axl Rose, sorry. Axelrod.
This was Axl Rose. The reason I mentioned it is because he's in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, as the voice of Lord Zed. Remember that big red, muscly looking guy?
Yeah.
Just another weird random credit.
That's so crazy.
All these people, I don't know.
I mean, at least he went on to do something else. Made some money.
No, he went on to do a lot of other things. He was in The Blob.
Don't remember. I don't know that one.
Anyway, here we are at the end. And so I say we give it a pause. We just wait a little bit. Also because if I try and watch this in my house this week, my kids will murder me.
Yeah, they're gonna revolt.
Here, Dad, drink this tea. We're watching something else tonight.
Yeah, you're passed out. You'll have fever dream of your own.
Tell me, was it based on knowing a little bit about the story, was it anything along the lines of what you expected?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, as far as the characters in it,
yeah,
they hit every single beat of the characters of the original cartoon.
Yeah,
I say original cartoon because it's original to me.
Yep.
I did not expect how kind of brain dead of a production it was kind of thing. It just seems like the least amount of effort for some reason. And I know it was probably a lot of effort to do all this stuff. It probably took these guys a few weeks or months to make this.
A few weeks or months.
I don't know. Maybe did it take a year to make this? I don't know. It couldn't have possibly. I don't know. But I know it takes effort to do stuff and to put stuff together. And there's a whole team of people, whatever. But it just seems like it wasn't thought through well enough. And I mean, God bless them. God bless their hearts for making this.
Bless their hearts. Yeah, going back.
It's not something I would recommend anybody watch. Listen to the podcast. I don't think you need to watch this, though.
I would say don't. Yeah. Listen to this. Watch a recap. I was almost going to include links in the description so that way if people wanted to see it, but I don't even want to do that. I don't think it's worth my time adding it because you will not want to watch it.
Find it on your own.
If you really want to watch Alice in Wonderland 1985 TV special, you can find it.
TV,
but
the way you said that, TV special.
I mean, that's it. That's what this is. It was made for TV. It's still there somewhere, you know. But
this isn't even like I wouldn't even classify this as like a straight to DVD movie.
No.
This was a straight to TV show, like mini series.
It really has a vibe though that is different. And it's not just because it's Alice in Wonderland. It's a specific, it almost feels like British TV, like weird episode of Doctor Who or, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Well, the thing you said at the beginning of this being more like a play, like you can imagine this being a stage play for a high school or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. If you watch it that way, you understand. But it's like somebody's dad with a camcorder just plopped it down in the audience and hit record at a high school play. It's a little bit better than that. You know?
I think that is a very apt description. Yeah. So this is a weird thing on the rating scale because I can't say it holds up and I can't say it's pure nostalgia.
Yeah. I mean, it's your nostalgia.
Not this version of it, not part one.
I guess. Oh,
Maybe
yeah, true.
when we get to part two.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, yeah, big thumbs down for me. Please don't watch this.
Oh yeah, man. If I was the emperor of Rome,
yeah,
he'd be dead.
Don't make your kids watch this unless they're in trouble and they just deserve some.
Off with the head. This would be a good punishment. Go downstairs and you're gonna watch this show. I don't like the way you spoke to your sister.
The thing is, in all reality, I was excited for my kids to see how terrible this was. Like really? I kept looking around the room and laughing at and two of them fell asleep before the end of it. You know, it was like, okay, whatever. I think it was more compelling for the younger kids. So it really, not because of quality or anything, but I think because she's a younger character, there's a more identifiable angle there where you're not feeling the more adult themes. You're seeing it in a kid's eyes.
Maybe I'll attempt to watch the second part with Ella, see what she thinks.
I'm afraid she'd be afraid, though. I don't want to give the girl nightmares. You know?
Maybe Eva.
Yeah, Eva can handle it. I don't know about Ella. You should maybe see if we can convince Eva to watch it. We should get together and watch it. But it is, because we got to the end of the lightning and stuff, and there was a little trepidation in the room. You could see oh, tense, what's going to happen when the music hit. So
that's so great.
But it's not all terrifying or anything.
Right on.
Let's hit our third segment, which is going to be closing the loop.
It's like a snake eating its own tail.
We're coming back to a couple of things that we talked about in previous episodes, if you have not already listened. Also, if you have any input as a listener of things that you might want to mention, whatever, feel free to email us at email@wdyt.show. But we talked about a Goofy movie in episode 7, which I still think was great. And I would almost be willing to watch that again. But I asked if there was a Chip and Dale Darkwing Duck crossover. There is. There was one, I haven't seen it, but there's one animated episode that came out July 1st, 1995. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers had a crossover with Darkwing Duck in Disney Afternoon #9.
Wow.
So they were crossing everybody over. There's a whole table of all the things that had crossed over with what, and they were doing that a lot.
That's cool. That's interesting. That's creative.
I would like to see all those Disney characters cross over into an Alice in Wonderland movie.
That'd be funny. They don't have anything like that yet?
I don't know.
I'm sure something like that exists.
It probably does, but
Mickey Mouse into the Looking Glass.
Alice is a Disney property, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's going to be an Alice in Wonderland movie coming out here in the future. Those things just keep coming back.
I'm going to look it up when we're done recording here and see, because I bet there's something in production.
Yeah, maybe.
And episode 8, we talked about Creed. Have you listened to the deluxe version yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man, you call yourself a fan. Now I'm more of a fan than you are.
I guess so. I mean, after listening to it, I was like, I don't know how much I want to listen to these guys again.
Maybe I have a recommendation for you then, because I talked about this band that I used to listen to back in the day, Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I looked them up. Okay, a warning to anybody who searches for them. The only thing available, I have it in my library because I have iTunes Match or whatever. So I have my old MP3s. But if you try and find it actually in iTunes Music, you can only find some new version that starts to get more produced and electronic and weird kind of sounding. But they actually have some new versions of it coming out. But the album that I know is called Lemonade. It has a dog on the front with a lemon in its mouth. And since then, there have been all those whatever re-recordings. But remind me when we hit stop because I'll show you. It was pretty great. And it would be great to play the drums too. And I was saying that the end of Creed's song Beautiful reminded me of POD. And I tracked.
That's right.
It's the Brown album, which is another large amount of drop D.
That's so
which
crazy.
I didn't even know.
That's
and
hilarious.
then I'm like, oh, that's funny. This sounds really, there's a lot of drop D
It's
here.
a lot of drop D.
So
I mean, a lot of those bands did a lot of stuff in drop D. Drop D in that era was really popular, I feel like.
It was a thing. Yeah. So the album is called Brown by POD, and the song is called Visions, which is track 4 on the Brown album. And you can hear if you think it sounds like Creed.
Yeah.
What else are you engaging with now? So is there anything else that you guys are like kind of going through? You've got, because of the project going, I assume not a lot of free time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've actually been watching the 90s show.
Oh, yeah. Do you like it?
The reboot, or I guess, of the 70s show is like the continuation, I guess, of the... It's okay.
I've heard some people like it.
I don't remember the 90s being like this, but okay.
That's, I guess that's probably how the 70s show was.
I was too much of a kid, I think, to like really be into everything that they reference and things.
Right.
But I do like the way they bring back some of the old characters, you know?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
I can imagine.
Red and his wife, I forget, is it Penny? No, not Penny. What's the mom's name? I forgot now.
I can hear her voice in my head. I don't know her
laugh, classic laugh. Yeah. She's great. I think she kind of carries the show a little bit.
I can see it. I don't like these shows that come back like Fuller House.
Yeah.
Or, Girl Meets World.
I'm not going to say it's like amazing and you should watch it, but it's just one of those like, hey, let's just throw it up and watch something while we're eating or in the background. It's fine.
I like it for other people, like my kids enjoyed Fuller House, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad you have a way to engage with this, something that I loved. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
it's touch it.
The original, the nostalgic thing of the original is always like, just don't touch it.
Yeah.
Sometimes don't even go back to it because you might be disappointed.
Right. No, that's also true. Yeah. Or shocked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, I did not realize, or the quality of this was. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Is there a TV show or series that meant a lot to you as a kid or growing up that you went back to and were like, oh? Which is sort of this whole podcast, but.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Dinosaurs?
Not the mama.
Yeah.
Not the mama.
It was good. I remember it fondly, but when you go back to watch it, you're like, wow, all right. This is, some of the things are pretty funny still and hold up. Like some of the jokes.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I don't know.
I tried because it was released probably on Disney or something to watch some of it with the kids because I remembered that, and then I was like, I don't even want to put myself through this.
Yeah. Some of the references of like the news when they're watching the news, the dinosaur news, and they're like, "There's a comet, like like millions of miles away. It'll never hit us."
Yes,
it's like, oh. Okay.
That stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying it was bad, but yeah, I remember it pretty well. And then going back to it and then kind of like, okay, well, I don't know that I want to go through all this again.
Or the recycle, you watch it again and you're like, oh, they recycled the grandma. Like in Monsters, Inc. The voice
it's not the same actual voice, is it?
It sounds almost like it. Like, you're an idiot. To her son-in-law,
Mike Wazowski.
It's the same. Like, it's the same character, basically. They just like recycle it. Oh, somebody wrote that and was like, oh, remember the mom from Dinosaurs? Let's bring her into this. Like, that attitude.
Just kind of pulled it in. Or they did it without even realizing it until the movie came out. They were like, oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't Mr. Jefferson his boss in this?
Sinclair! Yeah. Oh, that's right. He is. Yeah. Sinclair, get in here. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted a little extra time off. What? Why? You're fired. Enjoy your time off. And then he's like, no, wait, I need you. You're hired.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah, that was basically like Family Matters, but just in dinosaurs.
Yeah, kind of. It was that same kind of vibe. I remember, like as a kid, really being into the animated show Thundercats.
Oh, my brother was super into that, yeah.
But I don't think I was actually into it. I remember having...
Thundercats. Yeah. So good.
Thundercat. Ho! Yeah. I remember like having a shirt about it, even maybe as a teenager. I remember as a kid having toys and stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then when
yeah.
I went to actually go back and watch the cartoons,
It's so dated.
really bad.
Yeah.
Little snarf, snarf, snarf.
Yeah.
I know.
It's kind of like He-Man too.
Oh, yeah.
He-Man had a great intro music,
It was built to sell toys.
It was, yeah, most definitely. But then the actual show is like, oof.
Yeah.
Don't know about that.
Well, let us know what you guys think about Alice in Wonderland.
If you watched it or not.
I want to know if anybody has seen this.
I know that's an interesting thing. Yeah, I want to know if anybody else has seen this, because to me, this was like, where did you dig this up?
It is a deep, deep cut down a deep, deep hole.
I'm sure they want it hidden. Like all the people involved. Like
that's the only reason it exists barely on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do. But I do want to know if anybody
Who took
else...
the time to put it on YouTube?
Somebody,
my gosh.
But that's what I mean. It's got this weird like cult following of people that somehow know what it is.
Gosh.
But I really want to know what people think, and if people can guess what episode is coming next.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't already know, if you're not behind and looking at the track list and you don't know what's coming after this episode, I want you to pause and look at the artwork. Or if you follow us on Instagram, we're there. Or if you follow, like even on my Facebook page, I've been creating an album, and then you can zoom in and see if you can tell.
Find the hidden Easter egg.
Because I put out the Creed episode and I sent the image. It may have been my brother or somebody. I'm like, oh, did you see my Easter egg? And they're like, yeah, you and Josue are in the... And I'm like, well, no,
not
that wasn't the Easter egg. Yeah, like I'm getting out of hand with my camera.
There's a little trinket in the picture.
Yeah, right on my. If you zoom into my neck, you'll see a little gladiator helmet instead of a cross, which I thought was really creative.
That was awesome. Yeah,
but I'm gonna have to start. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even necessarily gonna make it more obvious. I'm just gonna keep throwing it in there. So if you don't know yet, but if you want to know, we haven't discussed officially what we're doing yet. But I know we had tossed around the idea of digging into Mrs. Doubtfire, which I think would be a fun thing to go back to, and hopefully as good as I remember it.
Yeah, something with a little bit better of a costume. Is that the tie-in?
Well, they worked real hard on it in the movie, so yeah, that's true.
I think the kids would love that one too.
I think, have your kids ever seen it?
I don't know, I haven't. No.
I don't think my kids have seen it. I remember as a kid being introduced to it and it being something I unexpectedly enjoyed.
Yeah, I love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He was great.
It's hard not to. So yeah, if you have any suggestions of other things that you want us to cover,
yeah, please
email us at alice@wdyt.show. That's whatdoyouthink.show. And tell us, if you want us to cover a topic, if you have comments about this topic. You can always also leave comments on Spotify.
Yeah.
Underneath the episode, we'll see that and give it a rating.
For sure. And please like it and give us a star or a thumbs up.
Not a star, five stars. All the stars.
Give us all the stars. But don't just listen and not rate. Please rate, because it helps.
You sound real desperate. Please give us your ratings.
Well, I've run into some people. I'm not going to call people out, but they're like, oh, I listened. And like, cool. Did you rate it? No, I forgot.
Yeah.
We'll rate it.
Getting people to rate and review is the hardest thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. Now I understand now that we're making these.
Why people do that?
Why people persistently say.
Honestly, I find it's hard for myself too. How many things I listen to and I go, well.
I feel bad. And I'm going back and going.
Yeah, 5 stars. Yeah, I actually like this. I've listened to 300 episodes of this. I should tell them I enjoy it.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, not just my family and friends, for sure them. And I'm like, to my kids, like, have you listened to this week's podcast? Like, you could tell the guilt in their eyes. It's like when I ask if they read their Bible.
Yeah.
I'm a couple weeks behind.
It's okay. Recommend it to your friends too.
There's no judgment. What I've been telling my friends, family, anybody is just find an episode you like and share it.
Yep.
And you can do that. You can find all the links at wdyt.show. But honestly, it's not just Spotify, not just Apple. We're on YouTube as well.
Yep.
So if you just search for YouTube at WDYT show, we're there. You can stream the whole thing. Do you have YouTube Premium?
No.
we got it when we got our whole TV package.
Okay, yeah.
And so a lot of times I'll engage with podcasts, even audio ones on YouTube, and you can create playlists there. And if you follow our YouTube channel, you can also find our playlist of music that we're listening to. So when I mentioned
that's right. I need to add to that.
POD, or, you talked about Switchfoot or Lizzie McAlpine or all that stuff, I've been just dropping a couple tracks on that playlist, and then people can find those songs there too. So best way to engage. We just want any kind of engagement.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, it is great. No, we've been really enjoying doing this. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that next time and our next test kitchen, which is coming up soon.
Yeah, that was fun. I want to do that again.
Yeah. And I've just got to get my body in shape in case we're going to go down the lane of eating a lot of bread again.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. But you can follow us everywhere, so please do that. Follow, like, subscribe, rate, and that feels like a lot of instructions.
Yeah, and just love. Just love it.
Just share the love.
Just share the love. Don't be like the adults in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. What are you, dumb?
Don't be dumb. Be joyful. Be smart. Be nice.
Thanks, Josue, not only for co-hosting, but for being willing to watch this terrible piece of media.
Def, you got it.
This was so good. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on What Do You Think of This?
Awesome. Peace out, everyone.